Right, so I think this will be the go going forward. We'll just do weekly catch-ups on Fab, because usually I take Saturday off, right? Well, I'm trying to start the stream consistently, so I will be taking Saturday off, or I was. Anyway, point is, we'll do, obviously, gaming content or whatever I'm doing currently on the channel all throughout the week, and then on Saturday, we will relax, check out any new articles that LSS has posted, and just basically catch up and stay in tune with Fab, right? But we'll start by cracking some Tales of Aria. We'll do probably one before, and then we'll go through the articles, and we'll do another box after. I think that's a decent plan, right? It is first edition too. It's like Sal was saying now, since Unlimited is very more desirable. In fact, I'm kind of curious if Anywhere still has unlimited boxes around me. I mean, yeah, I'd be much better off, obviously, just buying, or would have been, just buying the unlimited legendaries. But anyway, I wouldn't mind cracking a unlimited Tales of Aria. It's bittersweet because basically when Monarch came out, I bought a bunch of both, right? First edition and unlimited when unlimited came around, because it was inflated to all hell. But then obviously everything went sort of sour, bad for Monarch, so when it came to Tales, I just bought a bunch of first edition and didn't touch unlimited at all. Boxes are still kind of cheap in my area. I wonder if I'll be able to pick up a case somewhere. I'll have to Spellbound Creepers while they're still ludicrously high. But, nonetheless, we'll crack some Tales and see what we can. Finding Tunnel Mount Heroic or Tome of Harvest, I think it's still decent, because Tome of Harvest still, to me, has some fairly decent upside to it. There's some other choice cards, but it does also appear like Rosetta might just be self-functioning. I did a little look at the Rule and Reprise, right? So we'll go through that in a bit more detail. I'll give it a proper read. But it does seem like, I haven't looked at any of the spoilers for Rosetta, but it does seem like a lot of the cards, again, self-functioning, right? They make up for a lot of the discrepancies, where these are geared towards Guardian or Dual heroes would probably do better. That light is not the greatest. Let me see if I can fix that. We'll try to change in the tone. That's a bit better. Yeah. That's a bit better. But hopefully our cold foil is something decent. Otherwise, just M's that we are exposed to the elements. Not really getting. I'm sure Ice will circle around at some point, maybe. Take a little bit. Oh, actually, no. You know what? I'll change that. I don't think Ice will circle around. Unless through an armory deck or archival product. They can't see them doing well, unless they stick with Uprising. Not Uprising. With Draconic. Then I could see Ice coming around. That would make sense, right? Reprint Growlight or another Draconic Illusionist and handle Ice in the same one. And just do Fire and Ice, more tonal set, rather than what Uprising was. It's not the worst idea. And lower this a little bit more. Find something a bit more upbeat. I'm mainly looking for lightning cards because it does look like lightning, if any, will sort of run away with the meta. Lightning, but nothing good. For the first half of the box, not looking so great. Frostlock, that's double frost cards. Give me a Blink. No, Blink isn't the greatest. I still have high hopes for Channel Thunder Steep, especially with the Aurora card, the one arcane, the Brainstorm for Go Again, right? That with Channel Thunder Steep could be interesting. But nada. Line it up. I'm sure they'll have plans for Lexi to circle around. Or some sort of elemental ranger. Well, they'd probably split into two. We'll get an ice and a lightning. An ice ranger is just seems so debilitating. Like you're solely focused on just shutting down every single one of your turns. There's already more than enough arrows. So far, mostly done. It looks like. Oh, a foil Tome of Harvest. So Tome of Harvest and its limiter. Why don't we talk about that, right? So Tome of Harvest is, as additional cost to play Tome of Harvest, a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Draw 3 cards, right? 3 costs, draw 3, has go again. But is there a way to circumvent that? Well, not really, right? Unless you can generate 3 responses, which is sort of outside the realm of possibilities. You're always going to have to forfeit 3 cards to draw the 3. So, unless there's some way to make it super cheap, or there's greater value to playing an Earth card, it's probably going to be safe from the book burning. Sting of Sorcery, though. That should be good, right? I think with the Aurora stuff, you need just a little bit more juice. Although you could just obviously stack the go again. It all depends how much lore she has access to. There'd be some really good combos if she had all the draw that was available prior to the ban suspended. It could be really fun to craft combos. But it seems like it'll just be bigger swing turns, right? Be pushing a decent chunk of normal damage and a decent chunk of arcane damage through all the supplementary effects. Which sort of makes sense, right? Her rune chant tokens are more tied to using abilities and generating them and popping them. Ooh, Ice Storm. Ice card. Still missing the cold foil. Left. 4 packs. Just take a M cold foil at this point. Nothing. Yep. Nothing. I didn't check before the foil. That's a rare. Alright. Might be a cold foil this box. Bit unfortunate. Dig and Destroy. Yeah, it's kind of okay. Not fantastic. Take last. Take Riot Pack too. We have nothing and a Rug Muffins. Unless I am blind and missed the cold foil, which does happen. No cold foil. We are on track though. The amount of Majestics. Still, not the greatest box in all honesty. Oh well. Alright. Swap over to the articles and give stuff a read, I think. Alright, perfect. We do have the exciting 5th anniversary Dukes of Battle Gallery. It's slightly less extravagant than what I thought LSF would do. But still cool nonetheless. I'm curious what made them pick the heroes that they did pick, though. So we'll start there, right? So 5th anniversary, 5 years, 1 dream, people from all walks of life coming together in the flesh and blood through the common language of great games. An unforgettable milestone in a challenging industry through unprecedented global events. COVID. We couldn't have made it this far without you. So here's how they're saying thanks with anniversary celebrations taking place at stores worldwide. I kind of wish there was sort of a buy box promo for this, or an edition, right? Because, again, the honest truth is Fab has not kept everywhere in the world, right? It gets seeded, and sometimes it blooms, sometimes it falls kind of short, right? So some other way for everyone who would want to access it would kind of be nice, but again, it's at some major events, right? So, you know, it is, again, celebrating those who are coming together in the flesh and blood. So that is one nice aspect, right? So Ira Crimson Haze is getting her adult form as ninja, well, as non-Zen ninja, right? Keep getting crippled and crippled. So I don't know how much the +1. It's +1, right? You know, there's probably the card image in here. It's +1 to your second attack every turn, right? So yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna go, but still, you know, second attack each turn gets +1. It helps enable a few things. Maybe there's something with tigers there, but you know, it's basic for a reason. So she'll just be stock standard until, you know, Ninja gets a whole bunch of better toolkits, we'll go with, right? Or more unhero focused toolkits. That's probably a better way of summarizing, right? So Zen with his ability to find combo, Katsu with his ability to find combo sort of leads into combo. Ira is just luck of the draw and a little buff, right? So from November 1st to the 3rd, special 5th anniversary celebration events are taking place at local game stores worldwide. Join the celebration and you'll receive your very own Ira Scarlet Ravager just for participating, right? The same English language version of Ira Scarlet Ravager will be available at select scheduled events at the World Championship in Osaka. Taking place Sunday, November 3rd, will be a special showcase tournament. So I would assume that is everyone playing Ira, right? At least that would be my assumption. Players participating will, or you know, just be an invitational tournament. That's probably more likely. Participating players will receive an exclusive Japanese language anime art, Ira, right? So she does she? No, she doesn't. Does feature. No, she doesn't feature. The normal version of Ira features in. Yes, there we go. No, sort of. See. Are they getting packs, or are they getting just straight drops? Interesting. Right. There will be a ton of the English version. Maybe the animated Ira version, or anime version, right, will be very, very scarce limited. They don't say the foiling either, right? In this? No? But they also are going to randomly give, right? I assume you don't get all three. We'll see one random Japanese language anime art adult hero of Dorinthia, New, and Viserai. Did I finally say it right? I always say Visari. I'm very curious why they picked these three, right? I would assume New because, you know, it's in Japan and the straight popularity. Same with sort of Dorinthia, right? Everyone loves their night girly, right? But yeah, I'm curious about Viserai. Why he was picked, right? But interesting nonetheless. So those three and Ira will be out there in the world, right? And then there'll be an abundance of the English versions of Ira, which will be more welcoming, right? So anything else to add from this? Ira holds a special place in many players' hearts as a hero who welcomed them to the game through the Ira welcome decks. They've been available free of charge in local game stores around the world since Flesh and Blood released in 2019. Do you still have yours? I guess I have mine sealed somewhere. What better way to celebrate our 5th anniversary than paying homage to the hero who started all, with Ira releasing as an adult hero for the first time and being available not only to players who travel from across worlds to Japan for the World Championship, but in local game stores across the world who are the foundation of Flesh and Blood communities, and where so many first games have been played with Ira over the past 5 years, right? We're thrilled to be celebrating this special time with you all and urge you to keep your eyes peeled for an exciting 5th anniversary content coming at you from their headquarters. That's also curious, right? I assume it's just a celebration sort of event, right? I was sort of expecting like booster packs or something marketable, but again, going down the actual free route is definitely a one-up over, you know, MTG's famous celebration. So that's definitely good to see, and we do actually have versions. I actually really prefer the normal version of Ira. Oh, yes, there we go. So we have that, and we have that. I wonder if we go to Heroes, which is Law. I wonder if Dorinthia, New, and Viserai are there. So yeah, I don't know. This just looks a lot better to me, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that, but they've obviously done regular work for the Fab, and I would assume I like the majority of their cards. Okay, so we have Dorinthia, it was new as well, who is now alphabetized, that's fine. Zari, Viserai, and new. Do they have the versions there for us to peek? They do not. No, that's fine. We'll have to wait and see. I'd assume the Dorinthia one will do very well. But yeah, I don't know, I really like just this stock standard art over this one. Plus, also, you know, the choice to make extended, especially since she has such a simplistic effect. Very exciting. It is definitely the best way to celebrate it, right? I was personally hoping for alt arts of every single hero, right? Actually, no, I was going to say their rulings around reprinting. But they've definitely done Dorinthia and Vizari in the history product. So these are most likely all Rainbow Foil, right? Because it can't be Cold Foil as the history product. Is that the correct understanding? Still, nonetheless, I think they'll be nice and flashy. Excited to see the art, but yeah, not much else to say about the 5th anniversary. I mean, we can do event locators. I'm sure there'll be lots. Unfortunately, none near me, because that is very much drying up. Okay, so we also have Reiner finally hitting Living Legend, taking Romping Club with him. I'm guessing that's not really that big of a loss, right? So I'm curious if we'll circle around to Intimidate, or if we'll just stick with different brutes, right? Betsy, Guardian or Brute? I always forget. It was Kano, right? No, Betsy is Guardian, right? Just kind of seems like a Brute. But yeah, so it still feels like the 3 sets planned as outlined in the suspended announcement. I don't know if they include Rosetta, but it's at least Monarch and a return to Draconic in some form or shape, something that features Dromai. So the third one could be fixing up Brutes and Ninjas, right? I think Savage Lands is still on everyone's mind in that sense, but nonetheless, Reiner is gone from Blitz. We've mainly had Blitz heroes, right? Because it's been the skirmish season. So we actually lost Reiner, Briar, Dash, and Zen. Yeah. Sucks, because we only just figured out the infinite combo available for Briar. But Victor is close. Picked up a ton of points in Mist Veil. Who was second? Blaze, of course, Blaze. And then for Class Constructed, right? Dash is still getting there. Zen has kind of slowed down. I doubt he has slowed down, actually. I feel like Zen might, or because of Zen, right? We might see him rise to the top and Dash not peter over just yet. But well, yeah, we'll have to see. Because then Mechanologist could be back on the bandwagon, or, just general support, right? Max and Klloo still kind of need some love, right? Mindset still not doing that greatly. I don't keep up to date with that much of the competitive scene. But I'm always curious how the heroes are, gaining points and rotating out, right? Rotation is probably more of interest to me, right? Because then you can sort of use that to predict somewhat what is coming next. But we do have the Rosetta Primer, as well as the 2 Raw Reprisers, which there was one. Was it in this one? No, I think it's in the 23. And I did not clue in, right? But I want to talk about macros, because macros have a very, very exciting place in Fab, right? So macros start in the arena when you're playing a Rosetta limited format, and I assume they're going to be something going forward, right? This is a very simplistic way to sort of, again, make early turns a bit more friendly, right? So instant, pay 2 prevents the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you this turn by sorcery choice. Destroy this at the beginning of your end phase. So because there seems to be a lot of setup in Rosetta, I have a feeling the decks are going to very much split. You'll have Fatigue and you'll have Aggro, and this seems as a way to combat Aggro, right? If you're Veridance or Oscilla, I think it's how it's pronounced, right? Where you want to set up a bunch of stuff to then go into your late game plans, or your mid game to late game plans, right? Against like Aurora, who might just come out of the gate swinging. This is something to help with that, right? It allows you to cycle a card. In fact, you might just use it to cycle a card anyway, right? Or you get the damage prevention effect from it, so that's... Yeah, macros are very interesting, but I think where its use could really shine is, for one, in Blitz, as a way to try and slow that down a little bit, right? It all depends on, what the new era of heroes come out with their rule reprise, no, sorry, not rule reprise, with their design principle reprise and everything. But yeah, I do think macros are probably a decent thing to use in a lot of different places, right? From armory events to anything, to just add a little change or help, guide the meta, right? You can easily slow things down with the right one, but the most exciting use that I would love to see with these macro cards is they are perfect for PvE once PvE comes. Hey, hate letters as numbers. Top something gamer, top tier gamer, there we go. Hey, top tier gamer. We're going over news for the game of Flesh and Blood. So, yeah, just talking about the next set that's coming out, basically. Which I still haven't looked at spoilers yet. We might do spoilers, but actually it comes out next week, doesn't it? Or the week after. Might do spoilers next week. Right, but yeah, so macros for PvE could be really exciting, right? They're the perfect ways to handle some mechanics when it comes to bosses or dungeon effects or something like that. So, very excited that, this is something. I'm curious how they settled on the name of macro, but it'll be very interesting to see what they do with it going forward. I hope it's not a one and done thing, right? It's just a trial thing for Rosetta. But yeah, it'll be very, very curious to see. Right, so Rosetta will use 8 boost packs like normal, an exactly 30 card deck, right? So you have a lot of options to prune to go with the diversity of heroes. So that's really good to see, right? Again, they continue to sort of tweak and refine little by little, right? The limited formats, and that's really good since that's a great pathway into playing Flesh and Blood. So, what do we have with specific card interactions, right? We have auras that stay, so it's just explanation. Split cards are the new thing, right? So they're sideways cards with 2 halves. You can play either half, or if it has the keyword meld, you can play both halves. If you choose to play both halves, you need to pay the resource cost separately for each. So, for instance, is this a meld? Yes, and has a 1 cost. So if you want to play both, you'd have to pitch 2 instead. And I assume you have to declare everything prior to one side resolving, maybe? Does it mention anything about declaring and resolution? I guess not. But yeah, so what I'm curious about, right, because it's with Earth, I assume it can only go in Veridance. What is Earth? So Earth is... Oh, they go over their identities. That's curious. But we do have the new word decompose, and that's probably the main thing to zero on. So decompose is when it attacks, you may banish X, right? Earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. If you do, this gets +2. I assume it's X Earth cards and possibly X alternative, right? Y alternative at that point. But basically, you're banishing cards from your graveyard to add something, right? So that makes it very similar to Shadow, somewhat. No, definitely not. Definitely not pro. I do very goofy things, and mainly look at card interactions and combos within the game of that. Mainly things that are not really, meta at the time. Just more for fun. But I'm very interested, obviously, about, new stuff coming out. What is lightning? Any new keyword? I think we have flash, although that's not showcased here, right? And then, yeah, this is basically just a summary of the new things. So we have a few new heroes, Aurora, right? We have Florian, we have Veridance, and we have Ocelot. I don't want to look too much at the cards. Again, I've been trying to be a bit spoiler-free, but I do want to go over the rule prices next, since those are some of the big interactions. So, nice summary, right? So macros, they start in all Rosetta limited games, right? Decompose always requires a total of 3 cards, so I was completely wrong, right? So I assume it's always 2 Earth and 1 extra. Is there another Decompose card for us to click on? There is. You may banish 2, you may banish 2 and an action card. Okay, so it's always set. So it's always 2 Earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. That action card can be or can't be Earth, right? It's up to you. And what else do we have? Go again on melded cards resolves when the melded card resolves for the second time on the stack. So for the second time on the stack. So each section is independent, but counts as one action. Yeah, so you would have to declare that you're playing both sides at the same time if it's not an instant. So for instance, this one, right? I still assume you get to pick which one resolves first, but it doesn't have go again anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Wizard and Lightning. Alright, what else? We have Aura Permanents, or Auras that are in the arena, Aura cards on the stack, and defending cards with the Aura type considered to be Aura Permanents, and can't be targeted by effects like Blast or Oblivion, ways to remove them. Right? Non-permanent auras, I'd assume. I don't know what Blast to Oblivion is. Is it? It's not in the card they're showcasing. Then we have Veridance, triggers each time you are instructed to gain H. For example, gain 2H triggers once, but if you were to gain health, then health, that's what H stands for, it would trigger ability twice, and hers is an increase overall, I think. Right? There are 4 more Earth cards in your banish zone. She gets whenever you would gain life. During your health, during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage. Okay, so every time you draw it, as long as it's not gain X, if it's gain X and then X, you get to trigger it multiple times. It'd be very interesting in sort of the fatigue deck. We'll have to see where she ends up, right? Along with all the cards that are actually in the set. Florian's replacement effect is very similar, right? So for instance, create 2 would be create 3. If it's create 1, then 1. It'll be create 2, then 2. Cards with instant type abilities like Trip the Light cannot be discarded to pay for Oslo's activation costs. Okay, so where is he? I would assume he's, showcase somewhere. So he has once per turn, discard an instant, draw a card. Has to be an actual instant type card, not a card with a instant effect, which definitely makes sense. And then what was the other quick facts? You can play instant cards in the resolution step, giving blah blah blah. Go again. Yeah, you can play instant cards at any step or interaction of the game. Whole point of instance. So how Decompose works, right? Pretty simple. Again, you banish from your graveyard 2 Earth cards, right? So they have to say Earth something, Earth something. They can't say Elemental, which should definitely be noted. Although I don't think there's many Elemental cards because there's no reason to have Elemental cards in this set since things are no longer dual elements, right? So yeah, so it has to say Earth for you to use it with Decompose. Then obviously it has to say action card, can't be an instant, but attacks are action cards and non-attacks are still action cards. So you're going to be spoiled for choice, right? Then we have still Decompose. Okay, Melded cards have Go Again. When do I get the action point? For melded cards with base Go Again or Go Again received from effect, control will get the action point on their turn when it resolves for the second time. A melded card gets an ability from an effect. Those added abilities regenerate their effects when the melded card layer resolves a second time on the stack, in addition to any existing ability that exists on the left side of the split card. So, again, I don't think that fully clarifies it, right? So basically, when you play this card, you get to pick to either play one or both sides, right? So Shock is instant, it doesn't require an action point, and Burn Up does, but it has Go Again, so it generates an action point after it resolves. So the idea is you go Shock and Burn Up, and then you gain Go Again. But it's saying the second time it resolves, so you go Burn Up, Shock, and then you gain the action point, is kind of a little bit intriguing, right? And more so when it has an effect tied to how it gets Go Again, which this does not, because they're both instant. Melded, Null, and Shock, targeting Tyler. The Shock effect and targeting the Meld, Burn / Shock. Wait, what? Nick plays a Melded, Null / Shock, targeting Tyler with the Shock effect, and targeting the Melded, Burn Up / Shock card with the Null effect. Right, these in conjunction. This is going to be a lot to swallow for new players going into the dual cards. Hopefully they pan out, right? I wouldn't mind this being an effect that doesn't resurface, right? So Tyler plays Burn Up and Shock on their turn, melding card, and targeting Nick with the Shock effect. Both players pass priority, and the melded Burn Up / Shock layer resolves for the first time, dealing 1 arcane damage with the Shock effect, right? So I guess the instant always resolves first, since this goes onto the stack, and then you go through normal stack interactions. I guess that kind of makes sense. We have a whole bunch of auras as well, by way of these new sigil cards, right? Which is also interesting that auras are getting a bit more of a spotlight. Basically, they just stay on board till they are destroyed or have a destruction effect. So, for instance, this one, at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. So you play it on your first turn, you go to your end phase, you go to your next turn, you start your action phase, this gets destroyed, right? And then when it leaves the arena by destruction or any other effect, you get to draw a card, right? Variance ability work when I gain life, right? So for instance, these are 3 instances of life. So 3 times, right? So each of these will trigger arcane damage. Can it be amped? That's a curiosity. Next time you'd deal arcane damage this turn, instead deals that much +1. So it should only work on the first instance. That's usually how amp works. So arcane twinning in conjunction with heartbeat of the Candlehold, right? The first one will do 2 arcane damage, then 1, then 1. Whereas this will just do 3, right? Whenever you deal, no, sorry, it's a flat amount. You deal 1 arcane damage. So you gain 2 life and you deal 1. Florian's ability, work when I create tokens. It is just 1 extra token every time you create something, regardless of whether it's rune chance. Is it non-token? If I create 1 or more aura tokens, no, it's every aura token, right? So rune chance, embodiment of earth. Is there any other? I mean, agility. No, they're not auras, are they? Now I need to look that up. Whether or not all effects have been classified as auras. So, for instance, might is an aura, right? So any token that has this aura tag, you will create extra of. For might, that's beneficial. For quicken, not so much. For agility, not so much. Since all of those don't last, right? So agility just all gets popped. You won't get several instances of go again. Quicken is the same, right? Because that all gets popped when you play something. Yeah, so when you play an attack action card or activate a weapon, all of them will be destroyed. You can't pick to just destroy one. But it still has some pretty exciting use. I mean, we can just do token dash aura and see what it is, right? It'd be very interesting in conjunction with like the Bloodrot Pox or some like Frailty. Ponder tokens could also be a really devastating effect. In fact, you know what? I will have to look into Florian the most, I think. Yeah, because there's definitely some token auras that would be really interesting to make a bunch of, right? So for instance, Vigor, if you get extra resources, if you get 1 resource for every Vigor, with Florian's effect, you'd create 2. Granted, there's not that many ways to create tokens as someone else, right? A lot of these are tied to class, but Ponder should be somewhat accessible. There's a few generic cards, right? Or Bloodrot Pox for its damage. It is definitely, I think, the strongest effect out of all the heroes showcased so far, just because it has the ability to scale in so many different ways that makes it a bit scary, right? But you do have to hit that requirement. So if there are 4 more Earth cards in your banish zone, right, so you'd have to play at least 2 decomposed cards whenever you'd create 1 or more. Instead, create that many +1 of each token. They have like Germinate, which creates a rune chant of Embodiment of Earth. Repeat this X more times and gain life. The life doesn't matter so much, but so for instance, if you were to pitch 6, right, so 2 blues, you create 3, and it repeats every time, right? So you get the first rune chant doubled, second rune chant doubled, third rune chant doubled, and you actually get 4th one, right? Because you create 1, and then you repeat. So you'd get 8 rune chant tokens at that point. So yeah, be interesting. Basically, you know, combo-wise would just be get as many resources as possible and then use Germinate, and that's surprisingly easy to do, right? Even with the plethora of draw cards that have been cut out. Especially because it doesn't have like the normal Rune Blade constraint of requiring you to play an attack and a non-attack action before doing its effect. Although you can also just make yourself super tanky with it too. So yeah, Florian to me just has by far the best hero ability, and I'm curious to see, you know, what decks develop. Right, like there should be a nice tanky fatigue version and a just combo ramp to rune chant tokens, pop them, and get rid of your opponent that way. So for instance, rune chant is when you play an attack action card or activate a weapon, destroy this and deal 1 arcane damage to the target opposing hero. Right, so to KO or OTK your opponent, you just need rune chant tokens equal to their health plus available resources. Right, so at best, you know, say that's 4 cards in hand, each pitching for 3. It's 12, meaning you need 52 tokens. And that's if you're not attacking or doing anything first. So yeah, super interested to see where that leads to, right? And there's lots of other ways to create rune chat tokens as well. Some better than Germinate too. So then we have Oscilio. Yeah, there's an extra I. Weakest by far. I think I keep seeing combo. I haven't looked at any of the cards, so I'm going to be happy to be surprised. But considering his ability is just once per turn, discard a card to draw 1 card, doesn't seem that fantastic. Unless there's some ways to cheat it. But no, I don't think you can, right? You can't discard a single trip to get its prevention effect, right? So when you discard this prevent, also then trigger. Yeah. No, you cannot do both, because each requires a separate card to be discarded for its cost. To activate Trip, you must discard from hand as part of its cost. Moreover, to activate Oscillio, you must discard any one instant type card, which it's not for starters. It means any card with which they don't actually showcase down here, right? Instant text in this little box. Can I play instant to give Flittering Charge go again after I've dealt damage before my next attack? Yes. Right? Which is very interesting, because as long as it's just the last link on the combat chain, right, you can modify it however you want. Okay, so give it a go again and gain that action point. Alright, well, that's basically the intro to Rosetta and some of the new interactions. I think, yeah, again, the meld and the dual cards are still going to be super confusing for people. I mean, they're still kind of confusing for me. But then we have Rule Reprise 23, right? And this one is definitely more interesting. We'll skip to the bottom. These have the out-of-set interactions that I'm curious with. So, Savage Sash. I never realized Savage Sash is a cost reduction for cards that are less than 6 if you buff them. Right? So, for instance, we have next attack action card you play this turn gets +3. Next attack action, or your attacks gain +2 this turn. I'm curious why they ruled it with Come Fight, because Come Fight, you have to play it, right? So you shouldn't get this effect till after you play it. But yeah, so Summation, right? The card on the stack, it's under your control, and you're playing it. Declare the parameters, target, modes, etc. Check if it's legal to play, calculate resource costs, work out the cost of cards, and then pay it. So basically, you play, swing, fist, think later first. It starts with 2 power, or 2 attack. I think attack is the correct metric, right? Yeah. No, it's always +3. Starts with 2 damage, right? Gets 2 because of Blood Rush Ballad, so it's now at 4. And gets +3 because of Come Fight, making it 7. You then calculate cost, and because this is a cost reduction effect, you go 1 for its cost, minus Savage Sash, which is a -1, and therefore you don't actually end up paying anything, which I feel like is gonna mess up Teleshare or require some reworking, because I'm pretty sure that's not how it's calculated. Right, I'm pretty sure damage is calculated after you pitch. Pitch is just the first step in whatever you're doing on Teleshare. But yeah, so Blood Rush Balor is a lot more devastating in Savage Sash, because it basically allows you to have a swing turn where you can play attacks with 4, attacks with 5. And there are a ton of 4 or 5 cards that have Go Again, right? For Levia, for KO, no more Reiner. Well, Reiner's still in Classic Constructed. So yeah, that opens up a lot of deck discovery for Brute, right? Just in general, because you can find some other ways to buff. Stubby Hammerers would be interesting, but I'm pretty sure Stubby Hammerers they have to be on the chain, right? Determining whether a card is legal to play must happen after the effects are applied, right? So all their pluses come first. So yeah, we'll have to look into some extra Savage Sash stuff. Now, what do we have? We have Blaze and their effect, which is very lengthy, right? Just remove X energy counters from Blaze, banish a wizard non-attack action card from your hand with an effect that deals arcane damage equal to X. You may play it this turn as though it were instant. I would assume under the same premise, anything that gets its damage buffed would then require you to pay more, right? And it has summations here, right? So Chain Lightning is a 3 cost, because it deals 3, strictly 3. Scour is X, so it becomes 0. So used to be X was equal to something. No, it wasn't X was equal to 0, it was armor. It was equal to something. If armor doesn't have a little box here that says armor, right, then it was equal to something. But yeah, so X is just basically 0 until you've pitched for it, and since pitch comes into play after everything else is calculated, it means that you can use Blaze to play Scour for free, and then it would still be 0 because you're covering the cost, right? Banish target, no, because you're banishing it from your action. So you get to banish Scour, and then you get to play it for whatever cost you want, right? Because Scour's value of arcane damage is undetermined when it's in your hand, defaults to 0, and then you pay the X later on. The game is definitely not complicated. This set is definitely going to be more complicated. There is the better set to start with, if it does look interesting, if you like the art or anything like that, would be Heavy Hitters. Heavy Hitters is very straightforward, just big people doing big things, right? Just beating people back and forth. It is definitely a more tactical card game than most, out in the market. But yeah, this set by far introduces a lot of new concepts and rulings. That does make it a bit more complex than usual. Hey, you're Jane. Howdy. I'm doing well. Fork Lightning, right? Deals 2 and then 2, so I assume it's 4. No, it's only 2. Even if the arcane damage is dealt in separate, it's written to deal 2 arcane damage, so it's just 2. Interesting. So you don't add them together, right? And then the 4 and 6, I would assume, is 4 by that ruling. 4, 3, 2, respectively, because of the different colors. Yeah, so the replacement effect doesn't take it over. So just always look for the lowest stated arcane damage. I do stream daily at this point, or I'm trying to at the very least. I wouldn't say usually around this time, but very, very flexible, right? Because it's just a hobby. Comet Storm / Shock, right, is 5 or 1, depending on which side you want to play, I guess. Although you should be able to, although this card can't be used in plays, theoretically, require either 5 or 1 because it generates 2 separate effects of arcane damage. The highest number is not required to be paid yet, so it's always just the lowest number, right? Which makes it very, very detrimental. I think Blaze is close to rotating out though already. Yeah, and then these are just even more complex, but again, you just look for the number. So 1, this has no effect, so I don't think it can be banished. And then this deals 1. Be 1. No, and sadly, Eugene, I'm definitely not looking for anyone to do graphic design work, right? It's a hobby, no budget, basically. But thanks for stopping by. Alright. A few more out-of-set interactions. So, we are seeing more intellect effects take place, which is definitely good, right? With the current shift from draw mechanics, I do want to see more use of intellect, but we have a very big hitting card, right? But the detriment is it minuses 2 intellect, so you draw less cards at the end, right? So it applies to your current hero. So for instance, Cheyenne becomes a copy of your opponent, right? But she's still Cheyenne, so she retains the -2 intellect. Whereas Levia, if you're going to use a demi-hero, which is something that some heroes can transform into, it becomes a new card, and therefore a new instance of your hero, right? So if you play 10-foot Tool and Bulletproof with Levia, you get that -2, but then if you change into Levia Consumed, you would no longer have that -2. So, very interesting. It means it's a lot stronger in the heroes that can change, right? Because it is a very decent generic. I mean, in all honesty, I think everyone's just going to run this because it is literally a 10 block card, right? Obviously, the intellect is very debilitating, but still, 10 block, right? It is definitely something worth, buying time for fatigue heroes or delaying. I mean, in Melody, this is probably an auto-include, right? As you're trying to look for cards, it just buys you so much time, being a massive 10 block card. Alright, anything else? When do I deal arcane damage? Right, if it's an instant, whenever it triggers, and then if it's not, whenever it says. So for instance, whenever you go again, whenever you gain, whenever you go again. Why am I adding a go? Whenever you go again this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to any target hero, right? So anytime go again triggers and you get the action point, right? So the final ability to resolve on the card, there we go. Then it does the arcane damage. No sigils to shuffle. Some of these are more straightforward. Does combat chain close? No, it's up to you. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I don't think there's anything else really going on in the news. I think that's, I mean, obviously the big one was the ban and restricted announcement, but we've already gone over that. So I think, yeah, now we just wait for the release. Which means we'll crack some more boxes. See what we get. I remember how to do so. There we go. But yeah, so I think we'll just do this going forward every Saturday. Just look through articles. I mean, actually, you know what? I haven't done marketing assets. Just retailer news. FAQ. Road to Rosetta. Celebrations. All the artwork for the sigils looks really cool too. So yeah, so they are rainbow foil iras. Good to know. And yeah, a nice healthy 16. Not only does this give your local community a special way to celebrate Fresh and Blood, it also gives the local communities a chance to obtain an iconic hero for class constructed for the first time, right? She can appear as cold foil in a set if they don't do anything with cold foil, or even if they did, because it's a promo cold foil first, so it can then appear as cold foil. So yeah, we could see, you know, a ninja set circle around. Well, a non-draconic ninja set, right? So the format is just as class constructed, but it can be any format basically. And then these are just prizes, I'd assume, right? Promos used as participation prizes, so that's really good. So everyone who signs up is to be given one while stocks last, right? So yeah, be the first of 16 to sign up to your celebrational events and get one, right? Judges are not required because it's a casual event, right? There's no points or anything distributed. And then stores are free to add additional prize support. But yeah. Go earn your Ira Scarlet Revenger, not Ravenger. Then we have Road to Rosetta, right? I think this is going to be a very interesting set for new players. They, you know, have done the strike decks, but the strike decks to the other heroes in set. There's a clear reason why they picked Terra over Florian or Viridance, right? Definitely due to complexity. But yeah, so strike decks are just revamped Blitz decks. Well, actually, you wouldn't call it revamped. But more importantly, we have the Rosetta release weekend, right? The 20th around the world. Get yourself some beautiful sigils. They all look kind of glorious in rainbow foil. We also have Rosetta's release, still the sigils, right? 20th September, and the 5th anniversary. Okay, we're all caught up. We'll crack another box of tails now. Probably just to end things. Where is said box? There we go. See if we can find 2 gold bars to make up for the fact that we found none. Or something better. Right. We only really care about... Well, that's a good start. Not that it's playable. But it's a Cold Foil Pulse of the Candlehold. I do really like. Very usable in Briar. It looks kind of nice. Not bad. It's the first pack we opened was the Cold Foil too. Maybe there's a common Cold Foil as well. But I'm pretty sure I don't have Pulse of the Candlehold. I like opening to collect, also than buying to collect. Alright. Open Old. Not that great of an M. And nothing. Into nothing. Yeah, so once you do open a ton of this, it definitely becomes kind of like Frigid. Fortunately, not the old art. It's still a nice looking card. The old art is very gorgeous in my opinion. It's one of the cards I just bought. Because I thought it looked pretty. Nada. Into more nada. We want Channel Mount Heroics. Blizzard box is just literally nice. Got a bunch of ice cards in the first box we opened, and now we're getting a bunch of ice cards in the second. I guess it's a foil, I suppose. Nada. Awakening. Also not a great card, considering it's bad. Nope. Alright, halfway through, and only the Channel Candlehold. which probably won't ever see reuse, because I'm pretty sure they will never remake dual elemental heroes. Just wouldn't work. They'd be well above the power curve of every other hero. So, nada? No M even? Oh. Blossoming Spellblade. Wrong hero. And again, it's Earth Lightning. It's Earth or Lightning, right? No, it is M. Let's see. There are and then there's or, right? As additional cost to play Blossoming Spellblade, you may reveal an Earth and a Lightning card from your hand. Yeah, so it doesn't work. Right? So you can technically play elemental cards in all the new heroes. There's some of them that say or are usable, and might have decent effects that make them worth using. Blossoming Spellblade probably would, if it didn't have the and, just had an or. Oh, Foil Channel Link Frigid, but still not the old art. The old heart has a very nice looking tree. I do have somewhere. So I think Lake Frigid is still worth something. No M. Cool. Have a harvest, that's decent. And then nada. Nope. We might already be at the correct amounts. Oh, lightning. Also a very scary card. Right, so whenever a lightning or elemental action would deal damage, any damage, right? Combat Chain said deals that much damage +1. I'm curious if Aura's effect counts as Aurora, using it. It probably does. Or the card that has Go Again. Chaining Ball Lightnings together could still be devastating. Blizzard for another cross card. Nada. And no Cold Foil. Right, lucky last. Box. And there's nothing. Alright. Well, at least next week, because I doubt there'll be big news. We'll go through the spoilers, and we'll probably start building deck. See what we can come up with. In terms of combo, they definitely all have potential, given either their inbuilt hero effect or their actual cards. I'm curious to look at Giant too. There should be some new specs, so it should be interesting. But I'll definitely do it for today. Anything worthy to show off? Be just the candle hold. I don't think it's worth too much. And we didn't actually get a cold foil from the first box. So yeah, just one cold foil and some M's. That'll do it. We'll leave there. So hope you enjoy. Anyone hanging around or watching posts. Thanks as always. And yeah, back to Dragon Age tomorrow, right? And then just free Saturday Australia time, which I assume it makes it Friday, right? More or less. Yeah, every Friday night. We'll catch up on the news and crack some packs, I think. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Damn.